his mouth to your ears. It's Brian Kilmeade.
We do our work to serve all Americans. We're not serving any politician, any political figure, any cause, any issue, nothing. It's just maximum employment and price stability on behalf of all Americans. And that's how the other central banks are set up too. It's a good institutional arrangement, which has been good for the public. And I hope and strongly believe that it will, continue.
So that is the rate cut that Jerome Powell was talking about. They say the interview is as important as the move. What came out of his press conference? Let's ask Mark Matson. He's Matson Money, founder and CEO and author of Experiencing the American Dream, How to Invest Your Time, Energy, and Money to Create an Extraordinary Life. Mark, your thoughts about the rate cut and your thoughts about his comments after.
Yeah, I think the rate cut was largely just kabuki theater. Most people believe that the Fed actually determines the rate cut. In reality, the Fed kind of follows interest rates around. It's not going to have a massive impact on anything. Credit card rates are going to stay the same. Mortgages are going to stay the same. It won't affect inflation. So that's mainly just dramatics.
But is it true that he doesn't do that if he doesn't feel inflation's under control?
I don't think the liberals care about inflation. I don't even think that really shows up.
Do you
on
look
their
at him
radar.
as a liberal, Jay Powell?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he was put in office by liberals, so it only makes sense that he would be one. Look, people need to, on their portfolios, they need to understand a couple things. One, no one can predict what's going to happen in November. No one can predict exactly what's going to happen with interest rates. But you want to own equities. You want to own stocks. You want to stay diversified. And if it does drop, if there's a recession, you want to rebalance and buy more equities while they're down instead of panicking, which is what everybody does.
The market's up at about 500 points. I was able to speak to the former president last night. He indicates he thinks politics played a role in the amount. Instead of a 0.25 cut, it was a 0.5 cut. So that's an enormous cut. Is that also going to affect the labor market?
Well, everything affects everything. The problem with trying to predict what's going to happen is everything is so interconnected. There's tendrils going everything. There's an idea in economics and in physics called the chaos theory. That means little teeny changes here and there going to have massive blown up results. Investors need to be careful right now. The two things that are up, S&P's at an all-time high, tech stocks are all-time high, reminds me of 95 to 2000. U.S. stocks made 22.5% for 5 years running. Tech stocks made 45%. But following that, U.S. large stocks lost half of all their value. Tech lost 75% of all their value. And if you're getting ready to retire for your American dream, you cannot take that type of hit. People need to go back, analyze their portfolios, and see exactly how much risk they're carrying.
Or as who's ever managing it. Here's whether politics is playing a role. Cut 31.
How do you respond to the criticism that will likely come that a deeper rate cut now before the election has some political motivations?
Yeah, so, this is my fourth presidential election at the Fed, and, it's always the same. We're always going into this meeting in particular and asking what's the right thing to do for the people we serve. And we do that, and we make a decision as a group, and then we announce it. And that's always what it is. It's never about anything else. Nothing else is discussed. And
is that true? And aren't these mostly public hearings? Or no?
Everything's public. Everything's political. There's hardly anything in the world today that's not political. Look, they're trying to put a lipstick on a pig here about the economy and how well it's doing. The reality, it's not doing well at all. Prices are still up 30% from when they were down. Investors are still afraid. Everything's very contentious coming up to the election. My warning to investors is, look, don't panic. Things can get worse before they get better, but you have to see that as an opportunity to rebalance and buy when it's low.
How come people don't seem to care about the deficit? I know we pay more to the deficit on a daily basis, $3 billion on interest. It doesn't seem it ever comes up anymore.
These are two things that have to be brought up because they're critical. One is taxes, and I don't hear really even Trump talking enough about taxes because if Kamala gets in, they're going to do away with the tax cuts that Trump had in. That's going to be about a 20 to 30% increase for most Americans. That's going to be disastrous. And the other thing is the national debt. No one's talking about bringing it down. Which is going to be critical for our long-term success.
Because we're in
of the
peacetime
country.
now. This should be a moment.
It should be a moment. And look, inflation is a regressive tax on the people that can afford it the least, which are the poor and the middle class. And we have to get that under control. And the way you do that is by having energy to go back up.
Right.
You also do it by closing the border. We can't have so many people coming in eating up the resources of the American government.
Mark Matson with us from Mountain. He's the founder of Matson Money. So the one thing he did say yesterday, too, I found astounding. He said part of the reasons why the unemployment's going up, now it's at 5, is because we have illegal immigrants, basically immigrants taking those jobs. So he's admitting it. So you put 8 million people into it, many go into the workforce, even though they're not supposed to. They go in there, they get hired, and it's knocking other people out.
Yeah, there's 2 reasons. Number one is yes, they're taking jobs. But secondly, we have a workforce that doesn't want to work. We have 9 million jobs out there that no one will take.
Is that true?
It's absolutely true. These Gen Zers and the people that want to go to work and automatically make $200,000 a year because they have a liberal degree from some college somewhere. They don't know the value of hard work, the value of independence, and they are really expecting something from nothing. They think they can sit in their basement and make money without going to work.
I don't like putting down a whole group of people ever. Whether it's people at Fox or Met fans or Yankee fans, whatever it is. But they say Gen Zers, bosses that have hired Gen Zers, 75% say they've either fired them or regret it. Have you noticed that? They said between etiquette, work ethic, the way to dress, the way to act, they are lacking in almost everything. Have you noticed this?
Well, absolutely. I have 70 employees, and you have people that want to work at home. They don't want to work long hours. They don't want to work hard. Look, they did a survey about the American dream. People want a home. They want a nice job. They want to be able to retire someday. They want to have a family. And then they asked, the second question was, will this be easy? And only 8% said it would be easy. But Brian, they're missing the whole point. It's not about easy. The American dream has always been about hard work, industrious work, not sitting at home, looking at YouTube and binge watching Netflix and think you're going to make $100,000 a year. It's not going to happen.
I saw Dana White, the CEO of UFC, said this generation doesn't want to work, but if you're a savage, you really have a chance to shine like none of the previous generation. So buck your generation. Be the one to outwork everyone. Mark Matson, thanks so much.
My pleasure.